What if I told you that you don't have to change a single thing about yourself to be truly worthy? Imagine waking up one day and realizing that everything you have ever longed for, acceptance, love, and peace, is already within you. It sounds almost too simple, yet it is a profound truth rooted in ancient wisdom. For much of our lives, we battle the internal narrative that we must earn our worth. We obsess over comparing ourselves to others, striving endlessly to surpass our own limits in the hope that someone, somewhere, will finally acknowledge our achievements. But Buddhist teachings remind us that this external hunt is a diversion from what truly matters, the inherent value that resides in the very core of our being. The modern quest for self-worth. In today's society, self-worth is often linked with external markers of success, the accolades we receive, the image we curate for social media, and the relentless achievement of set goals. From a young age, we are indoctrinated with the idea that our value is contingent on our accomplishments. The pressure to excel in school, the workplace, and even within our personal lives can become a heavy burden, leading to chronic self-doubt and anxiety. This quest for external approval is further amplified by the digital age. Social media platforms present a curated reality where everyone seems to lead a perfect life. The ceaseless scroll through polished images and achievements sets up a distorted mirror, making us question our own worth. Every like and comment seems to affirm that our lives are only valuable when validated by others. But what happens when those external affirmations disappear? Who are we when the applause fades and the digital noise quiets down? A different perspective. Look Within Buddhism offers a radically different perspective, one that invites us to turn our gaze inward rather than outward. According to Buddhist philosophy, self-worth is not something to be earned or constructed through external validation. It is an intrinsic quality that we already possess. This perspective does not demand that we cease our pursuit of personal growth or improvement. Rather, it encourages us to cultivate an appreciation of ourselves that is not dependent on transient achievements. Consider for a moment the idea of a vast, timeless lake. The surface of the water might occasionally ripple with the winds of external circumstances, storms of criticism, or the gentle breezes of compliments. However, beneath that moving surface lies a deep, undisturbed reservoir of calm. This inner lake represents our true self, a source of unwavering peace and inherent value that exists independently of the external world. Recognizing this can be transformational. The internal battle, shifting focus from self-criticism to self-compassion. Many of us are our own harshest critics. We set standards so high that, when we inevitably fall short, our internal dialogue becomes a cacophony of self-reproach. "I'll finally be enough when I reach that goal," we tell ourselves. Yet such declarations trap us in a vicious cycle of self-judgment. One day a compliment may momentarily uplift us, but the weight of criticism soon drags us back into the pit of self-doubt. Buddhist teachings teach us to observe our thoughts without immediate reaction. The practice of mindfulness, for instance, equips us with the ability to see these self-critical thoughts as mere passing phenomena, clouds in the expansive sky of our consciousness. Instead of engaging with these thoughts as truths, we learn to acknowledge their presence and let them drift by, returning our focus to our inherent worth. This process is akin to developing a sense of self-compassion. Instead of berating ourselves for not being enough according to societal standards, we learn to speak to ourselves with the same kindness we'd extend to a dear friend. Over time, this gentle self-acceptance becomes the foundation for a more stable and resilient sense of self-worth. The power of true acceptance. At the heart of this journey is a simple yet profound question. If no one were watching, would you still feel inadequate? This question challenges the conditioned belief that our worth is tied to external approval. It prompts us to consider a deeper, more genuine measure of self-worth, one that is grounded in our own recognition of value, rather than in the fleeting opinions of others. External validation is often like a mirage in the desert. It promises fulfillment and recognition, yet evaporates as soon as we chase it. The pursuit creates an endless loop of highs and lows, a state where our self-esteem is at the mercy of the world around us. True acceptance, however, is an internal commitment. It is a promise we make to ourselves that our value is inherent and unchanging. The power of patience and readiness. The strongest waves of energy are always reserved for those who are patient, ready, and willing to trust and take action. This energy is a gift, one meant specifically for you. The universe doesn't rush. It waits for the right moment, the right alignment, and the right person. That person can be you. So take a deep breath. Let your mind settle, and allow every word I speak to ripple gently through your spirit. What comes next is more than just a message. It is a hidden code from the universe, waiting to be unlocked by your soul. It is the first key to unlocking a new reality. Let's begin with the number 7. Now that you are calm, centered, and open, I invite you to join me on a journey to connect with the power of 7. Number 7 is not just a digit. It is a frequency, a force, and a symbol of wisdom, inner clarity, and limitless good fortune. Look around you. What do you notice about the number 7? There are 7 days in a week, 7 colors in a rainbow, and 7 wonders of the world. In Buddhist philosophy, the number 7 carries profound significance. After his enlightenment, Buddha took 7 sacred steps, and with each step, a lotus flower bloomed, symbolizing purity, awakening, and spiritual truth. This is the energy of 7, an energy that represents transformation, insight, and spiritual growth. What does this mean for you? 7 is the number of inner transformation. It is the number of insight, of the inward journey that leads to external success. It tells you that if you are willing to listen to your inner voice and seek the truth within yourself, success will follow. 7 attracts luck, money, and breakthrough opportunities, especially during moments when the cosmos is aligned, as it will be during the full pink moon and egg moon of April 2025. These celestial events will be vibrating with the same energy that number 7 represents, a frequency that supports your growth and success. The energy of 7 and the full pink moon. During the upcoming full pink moon and egg moon, the energy of 7 will be at its peak. It's a time when you can tap into the universe's abundant energy and let it guide you toward prosperity. To align with this energy, take a moment each day to focus on the number 7. Meditate on it, reflect on its meaning, and allow it to fill you with peace, clarity, and purpose. As you align yourself with number 7, you open yourself to the abundance of the universe. Trust in this process and allow the energy of 7 to guide you to the success and fulfillment you deserve. Remember, moments of great transformation don't happen by coincidence or luck. They happen when you're in tune with the universe's energy. The full pink moon and egg moon of April 2025 are here to amplify this energy, guiding you toward the path of abundance. Will you choose to embrace it? Have you ever experienced a day when everything just clicked into place? when everything seemed to fall into alignment, when the right person appears at the right moment, a door opens without any effort, or an answer arrives when you least expect it. These aren't mere coincidences. These are the signs that you are moving in harmony with the universe. These moments are a reflection of the divine flow of energy that exists all around us, guiding us toward success, abundance, and fulfillment. But what if I told you that there is a powerful key to unlocking this flow, an energy frequency that aligns with the universe's natural rhythm? This key is the number 7. Number 7 has long been revered as a sacred number across various cultures and spiritual traditions. In Buddhism, for example, 7 represents enlightenment and spiritual awakening. It's a number that embodies balance, harmony, and divine order. It holds an energy that connects you to the universe's infinite potential, helping you manifest abundance, prosperity, and clarity. And when you align yourself with the frequency of number 7, you begin to experience those moments when everything seems to fall into place. During this rare cosmic alignment in April 2025, the energy of the full pink moon and egg moon will amplify the influence of number 7. This is a time when the universe is sending a powerful signal, and by harnessing the power of 7, you can tap into that energy and unlock the flow of miracles in your life. But how do you tap into this energy? How do you embrace number 7 and allow it to shape your reality? As you move forward, remember that this process is both a gentle unfolding and a robust transformation. It is about retraining your mind to see past the deceptive allure of external validation and instead find solace in the unchanging truth of your intrinsic value. With each mindful breath, each moment of self-acceptance, you reaffirm that you are complete, worthy, and deserving of all the love and peace life has to offer. Embrace this inner journey with an open heart, and let the teachings of Buddhism serve as a reminder that your value has never been in question. It simply requires you to recognize it, nurture it, and allow it to shine forth in every aspect of your life. In doing so, you unlock the potential for a life free from the endless cycle of self-criticism, ushering in a new era of authentic happiness and inner strength. This is not merely an abstract concept. It's a practical shift in how you engage with yourself and the world. Begin today by acknowledging that your inherent worth is unassailable. Let each step you take on this journey remind you that true fulfillment comes from within, not from the fleeting judgments of others, but from the timeless truth that you are enough, just as you are. A new look at self and self-esteem. Many try to build their self-esteem by fortifying a fixed identity, convincing themselves they're valuable, special, or better in some way through achievements, appearance, or external recognition. This is a lesson ingrained in us from an early age, but Buddhism challenges this approach by pointing out that the real issue isn't our lack of belief in our own worth. It's the clinginess to an idealized version of who we think we should be. From childhood, we're labeled smart, successful, shy, too much, not enough. Over time, these labels become our identity. We cling to them, whether they're positive or negative. A compliment may boost our pride, but criticism can wound us deeply because it challenges the identity we've painstakingly built. We live in constant tension, desperately holding on to the good labels while trying to dismiss the negative ones. But what if we are not the sum of these labels? What if we've confused fleeting thoughts, feelings, and experiences for our true self? Buddhism invites us to question this identity. When all these labels and stories are stripped away, ask yourself, who are you, really? One day you might feel confident, the next unsure. If your emotions and sense of self shift with every passing moment, perhaps the self you are trying to defend is simply a transient collection of thoughts and feelings. And here lies the crux. If your sense of identity is unstable, then your self-esteem will be equally unstable. Building your sense of worth on an ever-changing foundation is like constructing a house on shifting sand, a structure that may seem solid one day, but could collapse the next. This series will delve into how you can rebuild your self-esteem from a stable, unchanging core, one rooted in compassion, acceptance, and a deeper, authentic connection with who you truly are. Buddhism presents an alternative approach. Rather than getting entangled in who you think you are or who you believe you ought to be, it invites you to let go of that fixed, rigid notion of self. By softening your grip on a set identity, you begin to release the constant need to define yourself. As you loosen that hold, something extraordinary occurs. The persistent fear of not being enough gradually fades away. You no longer feel compelled to prove yourself to others and instead experience a profound sense of freedom. This doesn't imply halting growth or disregarding self-improvement. It simply transforms the motivation behind your personal development. Instead of striving to fix yourself or earn external validation, you evolve naturally out of curiosity and a joy for learning and living, without the burdensome pressure to conform to external standards. Buddhist philosophy encourages a more fluid and flexible understanding of identity. You are more than your accomplishments, your mistakes, or even the opinions others hold about you. You are a dynamic, ever-changing experience, and by recognizing this, you begin to detach from an idealized image of yourself. Freed from the constraints of trying to conform to someone else's expectations, you allow yourself to simply be. And this is where true peace takes root. When you move away from defining yourself by rigid labels, the pressure lifts. There is no longer a need to live up to anyone's measure of perfection. You can relax into your present state, knowing that you are complete exactly as you are. This shift also transforms your internal dialogue. It becomes softer, less critical, and more understanding. You stop tying your worth to your productivity or to how others view you. Instead, you learn to value your mere existence. Importantly, this new perspective is not a one-time revelation, but a continuous practice. Though you may occasionally revert to old patterns of self-judgment, every moment you choose to let go of the urge to define yourself brings you closer to a freer way of being. Over time, this liberation deepens and becomes an integral part of your life. In the next chapter, we will explore practical methods to cultivate this mindset. We'll look at how to integrate Buddhist practices into your daily routine to foster a healthier, more peaceful relationship with yourself. Buddhist practices for cultivating a healthy self-relationship. Understanding these ideas is just the first step. Real transformation occurs through daily practice. The ways you think and feel about yourself are habits formed over many years, and like any habit, they can be unlearned and replaced with healthier, kinder alternatives. Buddhist practice is not merely philosophical. It is a lived experience marked by small, meaningful actions. One effective practice is meditation, and I'm not just referring to the stereotypical image of someone sitting perfectly still on a mountaintop. Instead, consider meditation as any quiet moment where you allow yourself to observe your inner world without judgment. By taking the time to sit quietly wherever you are, you learn to watch your thoughts as they come and go, realizing that they are just transient mental events. For instance, if a thought arises, you simply notice it, let it drift, and in the space between thoughts, you begin to connect with something far deeper, something much more enduring than the fleeting nature of individual thoughts. By embracing these practices, you start to free yourself from the incessant need to control how you're perceived, shifting your focus inward. With time, this gentler, more accepting self-awareness will make life feel lighter and more grounded, anchoring your self-worth in the unchanging core of your being rather than in external approval. When the thought, "I'm not good enough," arises, instead of getting swept away by it, meditation teaches you to take a step back. You observe the thought, notice its effect on your emotions, yet you don't allow it to take control. It's simply an idea, a fleeting mental event that you are free to question rather than accept as absolute truth. The practice of mindfulness is about anchoring yourself in the present moment. So much of our anxiety and self-criticism stems from dwelling on what has happened or fretting over what might come. We replay past conversations or obsess over future outcomes, which only fuels our inner turmoil. When you focus on the here and now, your breath, the sensation of your feet on the ground, the ambient sounds around you, those critical voices begin to lose their influence. By concentrating on what is tangibly real, you break the cycle of self-judgment. Embracing self-compassion beyond compassion for others, self-compassion is crucial. Many of us struggle with the misconception that being compassionate toward ourselves is a sign of weakness or an excuse for poor behavior. Yet true compassion means acknowledging our shared humanity. You are learning, growing, and naturally, you're not perfect. Consider how you would treat a friend in distress. You'd offer gentle encouragement, patience, and kindness rather than harsh judgment. You deserve that same care from yourself. One of the most transformative practices in Buddhism is loving-kindness meditation, metta bhavana. In this practice, you begin by extending kind wishes to yourself, quietly repeating phrases such as, "May I be happy, may I be safe, may I live with ease." At first, this may feel unusual or even provoke resistance, but with regular practice, it becomes second nature. Over time, you'll notice your inner critic softening, replacing self-criticism with a supportive, internal dialogue. Cultivating gratitude. Gratitude is another simple yet powerful practice. Often our focus is on what's missing, our shortcomings, unmet goals, or perceived faults. Instead, what if you took a moment to recognize all the positive aspects of your life? Shifting your attention to the things you're thankful for, no matter how small, can reframe your inner world. Gratitude helps transform your mindset from one of scarcity to one of abundance, thereby creating a strong foundation for lasting self-esteem. Letting go through detachment, finally, there is the practice of detachment. We often try to mold our identity based on how we believe others see us or cling to an idealized version of ourselves. However, the tighter we hold on to these constructs, the heavier our emotional burden becomes. Detachment is not about indifference. It's about releasing the need to micromanage every aspect of our self-image. It involves trusting in your inherent worth, even without a perfect image or flawless achievements. Together, these practices, meditation, mindfulness, self-compassion, gratitude, and detachment, offer a holistic approach to understanding and nurturing yourself. By integrating these methods into daily life, You gradually learn to see beyond transient thoughts and external validations, embracing an inner peace that is both resilient and true. Overcoming self-criticism begins when these practices become an integral part of your life. That persistent, negative, inner voice, the one that highlights every flaw, rehashes past mistakes, and insists you're never enough, can be incredibly draining. Many of us have listened to that voice for so long that the idea of a life without it seems unimaginable. Buddhism, however, doesn't advocate for forcefully silencing this criticism. It encourages transforming your relationship with it. Instead of waging an internal battle, you learn to observe your thoughts and decide not to be ruled by them. The transformative role of meditation. Meditation is a powerful tool, not because it makes your self-critical thoughts vanish, but because it enables you to see them for what they truly are. Simply thoughts, not facts, or unchangeable truths. Imagine sitting quietly, focusing on your breath, and when a thought like "I'm failing you" arises, you simply acknowledge it. You take a deep breath, notice its presence without accepting it as reality, and then watch it drift away like a cloud across the sky. This simple act of observation creates a spaciousness within you, a mental gap where you are no longer imprisoned by self-judgment. You become the observer, free from the tyranny of negative self-talk. Cultivating mindfulness in daily life. Self-criticism often stems from ruminating over past errors or fretting about future outcomes. Mindfulness, or present moment awareness, pulls your attention back to now. When you focus on the immediate sensations, the rhythm of your breath or the contact of your feet on the floor, the weight of those critical voices diminishes. In the present moment, you are enough. You are alive and breathing, and that simple truth is profoundly reassuring. Engaging compassionate awareness. An essential part of this transformative process is cultivating compassion, not just for others, but for yourself. Many mistakenly equate self-compassion with weakness or indulgence. In reality, true compassion acknowledges that you are human, constantly learning, growing, and inevitably imperfect. Reflect on how you would treat a dear friend in a moment of struggle. You wouldn't harshly criticize them. Instead, you'd offer kindness, patience, and support. The same gentle care is what you owe yourself. A key practice in this regard is loving kindness meditation, metta bhavana. Begin by softly offering kind wishes to yourself. Phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be safe, and may I live with ease." At first, these words might feel unfamiliar or even met with resistance, yet with steady practice, your inner voice softens, and you gradually become your own ally instead of your harshest critic. Reframing self-criticism through reflective inquiry. When self-critical thoughts arise, a helpful method is to engage in compassionate questioning. Ask yourself gently, is this thought really true? Often you'll find that these judgments are not rooted in reality. They're simply outdated narratives and habitual fears that no longer serve you. You might even ask, would I speak these words to someone I love? If not, it's a signal to replace those thoughts with kinder ones. Incorporating compassionate mantras like, "I am learning," or "I am doing my best," can also help ease harsh self-talk and bring you back to a more balanced state of mind. Embracing the practice of letting go. It's important to realize that this isn't about eliminating self-criticism entirely. That would be unrealistic. The true goal is to transform how you relate to it. When you encounter that critical voice, acknowledge its presence with understanding. I see you, and I know where you come from. but I don't have to let you control me today. With regular meditation and mindfulness practice, you gradually learn to create a gap between hearing a critical thought and reacting to it. In that pause, you find a reservoir of inner peace, power, and freedom. When self-criticism stops dictating your life, a significant shift occurs within. You become more open, patient, and begin to see yourself not as broken or deficient, but as whole, even with imperfections. Looking ahead, real-life transformations. In the coming chapters, we will explore inspiring real-life stories of transformation through Buddhist practices. These accounts aren't fairy tales promising instant enlightenment. They are genuine experiences of individuals who, through persistent practice, have reshaped their self-esteem and rediscovered a deep, enduring peace. They illustrate that transformation is not about some miraculous overnight change, but about a gradual reawakening of the self, a rediscovery of one's inner strength that comes from deep introspection and mindful living. Take, for example, the journey of a respected Buddhist teacher whose life began amid conflict and suffering. As a young monk in Vietnam during wartime, he witnessed tremendous pain, destruction, and loss. In the midst of chaos, his circumstances could easily have overwhelmed him with despair. Yet by embracing mindfulness and compassion, he managed to cultivate an inner sanctuary, a deep reservoir of peace that no external turmoil could shatter. His transformation was not abrupt but steady and resolute, serving as a powerful reminder that even in the darkest circumstances, the seeds of self-acceptance and inner freedom can bloom. His life story encourages us to see that healing is possible even when the surroundings seem relentlessly harsh. This series will continue to guide you through practical techniques and personal stories, illustrating how everyday Buddhist practices can revolutionize your relationship with yourself. Through meditation, mindfulness, and the cultivation of self-compassion, you too can learn to silence that destructive inner critic, paving the way for a life characterized by resilience, gentleness, and true self-worth. Each story is not only a source of hope, but also a roadmap for personal transformation, reminding us that our inner lives hold the power to change the way we experience the world. His life serves as a powerful reminder that even in our darkest moments we have a choice regarding our response. We can embrace healing rather than succumbing to hatred and choose peace over fear. Then there's the journey of Pema Chodron. Long before she became a revered Buddhist nun and author, she was simply a woman facing the turbulence of a painful divorce, overwhelmed by loss and a crushing sense of failure and unworthiness. When her world seemed to crumble, rather than run away from her pain, she chose to confront it directly. She began to meditate and immersed herself in Buddhist teachings on compassion and non-attachment. Through persistent effort, she gradually discovered that perfection was not the key to inner peace. Instead, she learned that even with flaws, a broken heart, and moments of chaos, one can remain whole. Today, her teachings resonate with millions, drawn not only from her wisdom, but from her raw, lived experience. Pema's journey teaches us that the path toward freedom begins with accepting ourselves exactly as we are, rather than constantly striving to fix every imperfection. But this message isn't reserved only for well-known teachers. Ordinary people, individuals facing struggles similar to our own, are also finding transformation through Buddhist practice every single day. Consider the story of a young man who grew up believing he was never good enough. His childhood was marred by relentless criticism that eroded his confidence. No matter how hard he tried, Nothing he did seemed to satisfy the expectations of those around him. As he matured, that critical inner voice followed him into his career, affected his relationships, and even dictated the tone of his internal dialogue. One day, feeling utterly exhausted by the constant barrage of self-reproach, he decided to attend a meditation class. Although he initially felt skeptical, perhaps even a little derisive, he persisted, gradually by increasing his practice from 10 minutes to 15 minutes a day. In those quiet moments of reflection, he discovered the power of simply sitting with his thoughts without reacting. For the first time, he recognized the liberating truth. I am not these thoughts. They do not control me. The space he created during meditation began to influence every part of his life. He grew gentler with himself, no longer defining his worth solely by external achievements, and slowly, the heavy burden of self-doubt lifted. Then there is the story of a woman who had long been imprisoned by the critical gaze of her own reflection. Every time she looked in the mirror, she saw only what she believed was flawed. In her pursuit of worthiness, she chased after diets and beauty treatments, each promising to fill the void of inadequacy. Yet nothing ever seemed to work until she attended a Buddhist retreat. There she was introduced to loving kindness, meditation, and learned how to send warm, compassionate wishes inward toward herself. At first, this practice felt alien. Years of self-criticism had rendered the concept of self-kindness almost foreign. Still she persisted, quietly reciting phrases like, "May I be happy, may I be peaceful, may I accept myself," each morning. Gradually, the harsh inner dialogue began to soften. She started to appreciate her body not merely for its appearance, but for all it allowed her to experience. Running joyfully with her children in the park, sharing heartfelt laughter with friends, and feeling a renewed sense of strength and vitality. In embracing her true self, she discovered a beauty that went far beyond the superficial, a beauty that was rooted in the essence of who she was. Though these stories may appear distinct, they share one common thread. They are all accounts of individuals turning inward and choosing not to search endlessly for something inherently wrong with themselves, but instead rediscovering and accepting the deep, unchanging truth of who they are at their core. Through Buddhist practices, meditation, mindfulness, and compassion, each person discovered that they no longer needed to fight with themselves. They learned to soften self-judgment and release rigid expectations. In letting go of the need to be perfect, they found genuine peace and the freedom to be authentic. Importantly, the journeys described here were not without challenges. There were days filled with feelings of being stuck, moments when self-doubt crept back in, and times when the old patterns of criticism re-emerged, and that is perfectly okay. The Buddhist path is not about achieving a state of perfection. Rather, it is about showing up day after day with patience and kindness, even when progress seems slow. Each step forward, no matter how small, is significant. These stories remind us that change is indeed possible, and that healing is not an instantaneous process, but unfolds gradually through steady, persistent practice. Ultimately, the message is clear. You don't need to transform into someone else in order to experience peace. You simply need to meet yourself exactly where you are. With all your imperfections and vulnerabilities, it is in that honest acceptance of your true self that the deepest transformation occurs. The path ahead is one of compassion, mindfulness, and most importantly, self-acceptance. A journey that transforms not only the relationship you have with yourself, but also the way you engage with the world around you. By embracing these practices and learning from the real-life stories of transformation, you can begin to silence the destructive inner critic and cultivate a life filled with resilience, gentleness, and unwavering self-worth. As you continue to explore these teachings in the coming chapters, remember that you are not alone on this journey. Countless others have walked a similar path and discovered that even amidst struggle, there is hope, there is healing, and there is the profound peace that comes from accepting oneself unconditionally. In the end, real transformation is about understanding that our worth does not come from external validation or the ever-changing opinions of others. It comes from recognizing the inherent value that lies within us all. Embrace these stories, let them inspire you, and know that each mindful breath, each moment of self-compassion is a step toward a life defined by inner peace and authentic joy. Living the teachings of detachment and self-compassion. We've journeyed together from understanding how external influences shape our sense of self-worth to exploring how Buddhist wisdom offers a refreshing perspective on who we truly are. We've learned to quiet the inner critic and to cultivate a deeper compassion for ourselves, practices that might have once felt foreign, but now offer a path toward genuine inner freedom. One of the most powerful insights we've uncovered is that what's truly meant for you will find its way to you without force or constant control. In a world that often pushes us to chase outcomes and micromanage our happiness, the art of letting go stands out as a liberating alternative. Letting go of control doesn't mean you stop caring or abandon your dreams. It simply means releasing the grip on how things should be. Trusting that life, in its own rhythm, will bring you exactly what you need can fundamentally shift your experience. When you stop comparing yourself to others and measuring your worth by transient factors, you begin to understand a profound truth. You were enough all along. This is the heart of detachment, not a retreat from life, but an approach that embraces life openly. It's about offering your efforts, love, and presence without insisting on a specific outcome. There's a spaciousness that opens up when you let go, a space filled with peace, joy, and surprises that you never anticipated. Living this way is a practice that evolves over time. There will be moments when old habits of control and comparison resurface, and that's natural. What matters is that each time you recognize these patterns, you return to the present moment. You reconnect with trust and renew your compassion for yourself and those around you. If you take one truth away from this journey, let it be this: you don't have to chase after your worth. You already are enough, right here and right now. When you start living